All right, we're doing something a little bit different today. So we have a new car in the garage. It's not our car. Sorry for touching your car.
All right,
We're about to correct it.
We're about to correct it, that's right, yeah.
So this is a
2020 Ford Fiesta ST.
So these are pretty rare, right?
Yeah, there's about 100 in New Zealand,
Yeah. So Chris is a good friend of ours. He's been a car guy for many, many years. And actually, Chris is the guy that got me personally into detailing. I remember that he actually lived with me probably about 10 years ago. And you had some nice JDM cars.
Yeah, I had a New Zealand new S14 Sylvia, and I remember buying a cheap polisher from Super Cheap Auto and busting it out in the garage with Glenn, and Glenn would come in and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, "I'm just correcting the paint," just zipping everywhere,
These were in the early days of YouTube, where you couldn't find an awful lot of details on there, so I don't know who you were following, but man, I thought it was like magic what you were doing. You made your car in the space of about 4 hours look like brand new.
Yeah, so it definitely made a difference, but I'd hate to get up and close and really dig into what we did back then, but you know.
So Chris probably fueled that passion a little bit from there, and as a result, you probably haven't kept up as much in terms of...
I've moved more towards the interest in the mechanical side of cars rather than the paint correction side of cars.
Yeah.
I've still tried to keep, I guess, good washing techniques, but not to the extent of you guys.
So basically what we've done, so it's Saturday morning right now, Chris brought this car over last night. We probably spent half the time it took you to do that first detail of the Sylvia just on the decon wash of this last night, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So we're going to take Chris through basically a full paint correction of this. We've got ceramic coating, which unfortunately hasn't arrived today. It should hopefully be here soon. So we're going to go G-Technic Crystal Serum Light and XOV4 on this. But this is probably the full first scale paint correction that Chris has done. So we've got a whole bunch of different products that we're going to use. We're going to move on to a test spot on the hood in a minute. But if we just quickly walk around this car, tell us what we need to know. You've owned this for about 12 months.
Yep.
Putting how many Ks on it?
I've put 3,000 Ks on in 12 months. The beauty of working full-time from home. So it's basically just my toy car. It's garaged. It doesn't get used unless it needs to be used, I guess, or I want to take it for a fun drive. It doesn't get the daily kind of jobs.
And you thought this looked absolutely beautiful to paint before we deconned last night.
When it had the bead maker that I've been putting on it, it kind of covered everything up and it always looked great. But now that it's stripped back, it's a little bit sad to see the state that it's in for such a new car.
I think what we can see down the side is your previous owner to this has taken it through car washes or broom washed it. But it's interesting that decon has really pulled that out, right? Because I said to you when you pulled up yesterday, far out, like most other detailers will pull this straight in the garage and
start working on it. That's right.
So, what's interesting for me on this car is it's not really my style. Like the hot hatch is not really my category, but the interior on this thing is amazing. Like the Recaro seats, manual obviously.
Yes, manual, yep.
And it still has that new, it's not like new clean smell. It's like
factory fresh smell. Yeah.
So it'd be quite cool to do some content on this, I think, undetail related, take it for a drive at some point. But
yeah, definitely.
Obviously the focus on today is some detailing. So what we'll do is we're going to start this up. We want to get the hood toward the front of the garage for some lighting. We'll show you guys the current condition of the paint right now, and then we will move into our test spot. Oh yeah, listen to that, we'll get the mic close. Hear that? Call that the baby 3-cylinder.
All right, so Chris has gone out and he's spent his pennies and he's bought pretty much everything that Glenn's told him to buy. So we're fortunate enough that we've got the Rupes tools. So we have a 3-inch and a 5-inch.
Yep.
And I think most of your car is going to be a lot of 3-inch. We unfortunately don't have a nano. Nano would be super handy for little bits like this. But we'll show you how to put the pad on, prime and stuff like that. So 3-inch Rupes with a 3-inch pad. So this has got a 3-inch backing on it.
Okay.
And Rupes pads actually flare out to a 4-inch face.
A lot. Yeah. Okay.
And these are the new pads. So you've really bought, you know, flash, because they've got that little. The old ones just sort of flared out in a triangle, but this has sort of got like a nice dip in there. Circle, which will line up nicely in the middle of the backing plate there. Oh, it's so nice to work with fresh pads, eh? You know when you're like 1 or 2 cars, you know when these are 1 or 2 cars old, and it's like, oh, I've cleaned them and they're not nice. But so So this is a Rupes yellow pad, so this is quite fine. These, the microfiber, the foam in here is quite tightly packed, so it's not coarse. You're going to get a reasonable finish here. This will generate a little bit of cutting power for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a test spot. We're going to use the least aggressive first, and then as we find that the scratches aren't correct out, we can go slightly more aggressive and more aggressive.
Gotcha. Okay.
Have you ever seen this from American shops, like proper detailing shops?
Yeah, yeah.
A few Australian shops and Amazon.
Yeah.
And I told you about
And
Amazon.
Ali.
Yeah.
And I told him about how to get those pads real cheap from Amazon. Did he tell you that?
No.
Or did you find it yourself?
Well, you told us about those pads.
He bought the 12 pack.
We were getting a coffee, and then we jumped online.
Ah, is that when you were buying the pads?
Yeah, because I said I wish I could get a multi-pack of these pads because they're so expensive to buy by themselves.
I was like, no, you can buy a 10 pack on Amazon.
I've never seen them. I jumped online, found them, told him to buy them.
Because those pads are 2 for $100 at Repco.
Yeah.
Rip off.
Ridiculously expensive. Unbelievably
You would have
expensive.
bought the whole pack for $100.
I wouldn't have bought them. I would have found something else. I would have gone on AliExpress.
You would have been doing this yourself, hey?
He would have too.
Not for that price.
Whatever's left over from the end of this video, I'm buying them off, Chris.
Yeah, because I don't think
We're
we'll
dividing
use.
the cost of those pads by
I don't think we'll use 12 on this.
And then I'm buying
It's not a big car.
We'll need them.
You bought 12. How much?
It's a 12 pack.
Come on, 12 pack for $90.
Yeah, $90. 12.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah,
That's legit. Yeah, that's so good.
That's the way
Does that include shipping?
Nah, shipping was like 20,
$13, $20.
13, $20, yeah, something like that.
So cheap, man.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, my order from the US for those 2 bottles and the 12 was $240.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too bad.
Okay. So next, perfect finish. You want to prime this pad the first time you use it.
Okay.
There is quite a lot of different techniques about how to prime a pad.
Right.
I reckon you just want to put, so you want to shake your polish up, I've already done it. You want to shake it up and then you want to get a bit of product on here. This is the magic sauce though.
Oh,
Rupes.
here it comes.
Rupes claw tool. I think this is the best thing about detailing. Having one of these in your pocket. It's got like a nice little knife on one end,
Yep.
brush on the other end. So the knife end, spread this like you spread peanut butter on your toast in the morning, you know what I'm saying? Did Glenn give you breakfast this morning?
Smooth peanut butter, I hope.
Ooh. Spread it on. I think we need a little bit more on that.
No, Glenn hasn't fed me this morning. No.
Hasn't fed you this morning?
No, we're off for coffee soon, so calm down.
And this just spreads that polish into all those little foam cells in that pad.
Okay.
And then you want to use, once this pad's primed, you only ever want to use 2 very small, so small I can't even get it out, pea-sized drops.
Okay.
At this point you could probably go on and start. Some people like to hold this on the paint for a little bit, heat the pad up in a circle for about 30 seconds, low speed, and that just helps to prime it further.
Right, spread it around.
Some people go, hey, that's enough, I've manually spread it on here, I'm good to go. It's kind of up to
If
you.
you don't have the Bigfoot knife, then
If you don't have the Bigfoot knife. I like that, Bigfoot knife. So I'll show you both ways. So if you had just put this polish on and you just wanted to spread it on, then just come around here.
yeah, pick a spot, any spot.
So on the back of this tool here we've got our speed dials. So I think 6 is the highest, and then you can roll that to 1 to 2. Okay. So you probably, when you're priming your pad, you want to be really low, sort of 1 to 2. This is the on-off switch on the front.
Okay.
The LHR15 is slightly different, we'll show you that one in a minute.
Okay.
And then if you're going to prime on the paint, you can just hold it on here, low speed. There's not too much pressure there. Okay. Nice and still. And what you'll find is that this heats the pad up, and you can see now we've got a bit of a more uniform
coverage.
spread on there. We can put our 2 pea-sized drops back on there, ready to go and correct this panel out.
Alrighty.
So this tool here is the LHR15. It's basically got a 5-inch backing plate.
Okay.
The pad will flare out to 6-inch roughly, and this is just a nice little protector that comes with it. This one operates slightly different. So you have your dials on the front here, so 1 to 6 again.
Yeah.
You have your trigger underneath. This is
That's a nicer design trigger, yeah.
Variable trigger, so you can go slow, fast. And there's a lockout button there as well, so you can push that in, lock it in, and that's meant to stay in place.
Excellent.
So you can then worry about your hand placement for that, and then push that in and it turns itself off.
Okay.
There's a nice little handle at the front, whereas that one doesn't.
Yep.
I personally like this one better because of the hand placement of the trigger and the dial on here, whereas the dial on this one's at the back. So when you start, you're doing this weird like look underneath,
trying to get
oh,
the-
what number am I on? Whereas this one here's nice clear design.
Yeah, and this handle as well, I find with the cheap machine that I have is I'm definitely reliant on that handle, and that would be a bit of a different approach for me not having that handle to hold on to.
And the setup is exactly the same. So to prime the pad, you do with that, you do the same with this one.
Right, gotcha.
All right, so as Glenn said, what we're going to do is start with our test spot, and we're going to start always with our least aggressive formula or combination. So for us, the products that we've got today, Perfect Finish and the yellow pad, that's going to be our least aggressive. And then we do have a bunch of other products that we can step up to. So we've got Sonax Cut Max as well. That's right, another compound. If needed, we've got Jessica Correction Compound, and the cutting pad that we've got is the Maguire's Microfiber Cutting. If we could get away with doing this combination, that'd be fantastic. We always start every detail saying that. If we could get away with this, how great would that be? Very rarely do you ever settle on this. Okay. The scratching that you've got in the paint here, I don't think this is going to achieve the result we want, but again, we don't know, is this soft paint, is this hard paint? It's a really common question that a lot of people ask, and there's no real easy way to know until you've got the experience with a certain type of paint. So what we'll do is the exact same way that Glenn's just described, that we get this pad ready. It's already primed, so we're just going 2 pea-sized dots on there. And then the way that we will try and see how this is going to work, we've taped a line down the middle here, so we're going to work on one side, and we're going to work in probably a box from, I don't know, about here to here. Then we can pull that tape away and see what the results we've got underneath there. So when we're cutting on this machine, we probably don't want to exceed speed 4, 4.5. Generally, your higher speeds on this, your 5 and your 6, you're using those purely for blowing out or cleaning pads. Okay. So if you've got a wet pad after you've cleaned it, you'll put this on speed 6, wring it out. Yeah. But you're very rarely going above 4, 4.5. And then when you're finishing, you're going even lower. You're probably somewhere between 3 to 4.
And it's going to be really hard to try and show the scratches on the paint, just the fact of the lighting and stuff like that. So we'll do our best, but you just have to take our word for it that we're trying to correct this car out pretty good. We're trying a high standard here.
Yeah, we may be able to catch a couple of angles on this. We'll do our absolute best, but the lighting's not playing the nicest with us at the moment. So we'll see how we go. So what we're going to do, it's going to be a little bit difficult for us to talk as we're going through this, but we're going to first put this down, low speed, spread our product over the area we're going to work, and then we're going to work, probably go 3, maybe 4 passes. So when we talk a pass, we're going 1 here, slight overlapping, back, that's 1 pass, flip the other way, overlap, that'll be our second pass. So it's not 1 line, first pass, second line, second pass. So it is quite a long process. What you'll find though is when we do get on with the detail, once we find the combination that works, you don't necessarily have to follow that method of, well, 4 passes is the way to go. If it only requires 3, only do 3. The least amount of clear coat you're going to remove from the paint, the better. And I think you just get a knack for it as you're going as well, and going, okay, this area is slightly, less, less impacted, less scratched than the rest of the car. We can probably get away with a little bit less. But the hood's always a good place to start because it's a flat panel as well. Yeah. It's quite an easy place to work. You're not having to work with any contours. So I'm going to put this on a low speed, speed 2 to spread. That'll be our area we work on, and I'll crank ours up to speed 4, and we'll start our first pass. All right, so that's two passes in each direction done there. So we've done 4 passes. Now, what we would do is we'd use a microfiber towel. These are what we use for polish removal. This is a rag company towel. I'm not sure the exact specifics of this one here. It's not too high in GSM, like it's a relatively lowish pile. CarPro Erase is another product that we do use to remove the polishing oils and residue. For Perfect Finish, we find we don't really need to touch on this. For Cut Max as well, you can probably get away with not using it, but there are some heavier compounds that you will want to rely on this.
And what you'll find is that Sonax Perfect Finish has got a cut of 4, so pretty low cut, but it's got a gloss factor or finishing factor of 6. So it's not going to cut as well, but it's going to put gloss in. That's why we actually use that at the end. It's a diminishing polish, so the more passes, the less cut we have. Whereas when we get into things like a cut max, it's got a higher cut, so I think it's got a cut of 6, and then it will only finish down to a 4 or something like that.
Right.
You couldn't use it for a 1 step because it leaves a haze in the paint.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see here now, probably, if I get it right, you can see there, that's the polish on there, that's a haze that we're going to remove with our microfiber or with our, with a little bit of, what do you put, carpet eraser on there?
Yeah, there's no carpet eraser on here, but this is just straight white. Yeah, you don't need it for perfect finish most of the time. So what we're going to do is, we won't take that tape off just yet. We're going to inspect the paint with we've got a Rupes pen light, and we're going to...
And you kind of want to look down the line of the paint with the light, and from that angle there you can see the scratches that you removed or where you've still got work to go. And I reckon you've still got work to go.
Yep, it definitely has made a dent in there. What we need to do is we need to just play with our lighting a little bit. So we're actually going to go quite dark in here, put this door down. Just want to see the... More light is not necessarily always better for detailing. Sometimes the less light you can have and just have a single source of light. Okay, if you come over, stand behind me here, Chris. So this has actually done a really decent job just through that 4 passes of pulling things out. And to be honest, yep, I can see there's a couple of scratches in there. But
wow, yeah.
So if you follow this across, and then we get to here.
Huge difference, yeah.
So there's a really
All
big
that
difference. And even we
webbing.
might be able to bring the camera across to Chris's perspective and have a look at the difference that that's made. So this is kind of the point in the detail where you work out, okay, so I've done 4 passes with that product. Am I happy with the result? And generally, if you're doing your test spot in one of the worst areas of the car as well, the hood is generally going to be that spot because people are washing and they're pushing down hard on here.
Yeah.
If you're happy with the results from your test spot, well then you can go, hey, I'm happy with that, let me move on, that's my combo for the detail. If you look at that and you're like, it's not quite there, that's when you move to your next combination, either the heavier compound or you change up your pad. So I guess for you as the owner of the car, we could test spot another area again with the same combo to go, are we replicating those exact results in a different section? But as the owner of the car, it would be now for you to go, am I happy with that? Do I want to chase harder? Because chasing harder means removing more clear.
Yeah.
Chasing harder also means taking more time, but chasing harder means you get a better finish on your paint at the end of the day as well. So what I'm going to do is give you the light there. Okay. I'm going to let you wipe that tape line away. I'll let you inspect, and you give us your thoughts.
You probably want to get down low and you want to look down that line of light.
I can see the tape line there, so that's my reference point.
Because you could step it up, you could do additional passes as well. You could step that up to 5 or 6 passes, which would achieve a slightly better cut. You're not going to get a good as cut as your first, second, your third, your fourth pass because it's diminishing polish. But that is another way to change up your combination as well, as do more passes without having to change up the product.
Right, there's no visible straight line or swirl scratching, there's just a tiny little points almost, like dots.
The other thing what you could do is if you had in your arsenal a different compound, you could try that. You could try putting water on your pad, you could try different pads and stuff, but we're kind of locked in to sort of 1 or 2 options here.
Right.
But that's what people could do in the future. They could have a collection of stuff where you could try some options. This is the first time with this car, this is the first time with this colour, this is the first time with this type of paint, and so what we're going to find is we don't know the answers.
Right.
We're going to work this, we're working through this with you, and so, you know, if this was a Subaru or a Tesla, we could say, this, and this will work, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. Are you happy with that? You want more? Let me have a look.
You have a look, you let me know. You guys are the seasoned vets here.
I think if you're on the fence of making a call on that, you're probably relatively happy with it. I think what we do is we move to a test spot in a different area of the car,
Okay.
down one of the doors, which is not something we typically do. Generally, we can work out our combo while we're on the hood of the car. But I think if you're sitting on the fence, if we worked on one of the door areas where we know the paint is slightly worse on there, we've got some more scratching and we achieve a good result there, that could probably make your mind up on it.
Alrighty.
What are your thoughts?
The other thing is that when you get a light out, in a garage, you're going to find worse scratching, and this is perfect conditions for finding scratching, perfect conditions for letting you down, because this is where it exposes the car's paint the most.
Right.
And so under the light you can see a lot of chips and pittings and things like that.
I think it's a lot of what you're seeing on the hood there. You're seeing a lot of pitting.
Yeah, that's
from
what I could
rock
see,
chips
yeah.
that haven't quite made
There's
their
a
way
handful
to.
of scratches in that little area. You can definitely see there's a massive improvement.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's chasing that extra 5% difference.
no, you're chasing more than that, I think.
Let's call it 15. Yeah.
Let's put on the microfiber. Let's put that compound on the other side.
Yep.
And you can make your decision.
Right. Okay.
All right, so we've done actually 3 different test spots around the car. What we ended up doing is coming to this area here on the rear wing, which was the worst part of the car. We've ended up doing 4 passes initially, and then an additional 2 passes with perfect finish and the yellow pad. So I think what Chris has settled on is that he wants to still go the least aggressive way possible. Cut max, I think, would be a good combination with perfect finish on this car if you were chasing for like 95, 96, 97% of all scratches coming out. I think that with perfect finish, I think we're going to achieve probably about an 85% correction of the paint. But you also come into that with a time saving, a cost saving, and also a clear coat saving. That's probably the biggest one. The more polishing that you're doing, the more compounding that you're doing, you're removing more clear coat, right? So I think that least aggressive way is the way to go. And Chris, you're pretty happy with 85% correction on here?
Yeah, I mean, once it's coated up again,
Yep.
anything that was under these harsh lights that we're using is not going to be visible, so hey.
No, exactly. Because again, you're going to put your ceramic coating on there, you've got your top layer, it's going to fill some of the pits and some of the areas where you still can see some micro scratching in there. It's very minuscule though. This is, I think, from the few test spots we've done, it's a soft paint. So it is correcting out quite nicely. So you might not get away with this quite as easy if you're working with, I know some BMWs I've worked on recently have quite hard paint. You probably wouldn't get the same result out of those. All of those cars I've had to 2-step. So I think at least the paint on this Ford Fiesta is relatively soft. So what we're going to do, we're just going to carry on. We're going to go for coffee right now, go fuel ourselves up for the day, and then we're just going to start motoring through. We'll get the LHR 15 with a 5-inch pad. Very few areas on this car that we can use that with, but probably the roof. We've got some flat areas on there. A lot of lines on this car, a lot of harsh lines though, because even on that roof area, you've got some really sharp lines. Same with the bonnet of the car. You know, we'll get the LHR 15 up to these areas here, but as soon as we get in here, we're working 3-inch machines. So I think it's going to be a lot of downtime today for the person not on the 3-inch machine, but that's all right. We'll go get coffee and get cracking on. All right, so we're making pretty good progress here on some of the rear of the car. This is a really good example here. So if you bring that light across to the left there, Chris, so you can see, and even if you bring it down further toward me this way, and then go back to the right, you can see all of that swirling there. Now, we've managed to remove this. Chris has had the LHR 75, so the smaller machine. It's done probably about, what, 4 passes?
4 passes, yeah.
4 passes in there with just perfect finish. So it's a pretty good result. There's a little bit of edge work that we need to tidy up in there a bit more, but I'm pretty happy with the result so far for an easy combination, really, given the Rupes yellow and the perfect finish. That I just gave Chris, he was working down this area of the car, basically this line on the roof of the car, and wasn't correcting out right up to this line here. It was probably coming about 1 centimetre off. So one of the things that can deceive you about that machine, if you pick that machine up again, Chris, and just put it on the paint, something that can be deceiving when you're working with a dual action machine is right now when this machine is on, if you flick it on really quickly, you see a bit of a halo effect around it. You can see around the outside here, you get this halo effect. So it's not working right to the point where you can see that light yellow on the outside. It's working to the edge of the pad. So you think you've got it up against the edge there, but in order to actually be correcting that out, you need to have a slight overlap there. So this is where it comes in really handy to have a rotary of some sort, probably a nano. We don't have a nano here with us today, so we're working with what we've got, which means that we just have to get a lot tighter into those edges to correct them out. Alright, so we just had some lunch. We're back into polishing here.
Got some fuel.
Glenn's showing up again. He dipped out for a couple of hours, but he's back in action. We've got him working on the 5-inch machine, which is our least favourite machine.
I'm a 3-inch kind of guy.
Yeah, you like the talk on that one, eh?
Yeah. It's just easier, more precise, I think. I like.
So we've found that the combo is working pretty well. There are a few areas on the hood of the car which we were asking Chris before, like what are the areas that you're going to notice the most on this car? And I mean, this hood's looking really good. When we do get our lighting out though, we still can see some micro scratching on there after 6-7 passes, so we may hit that with a bit of microfiber, just given that that's the area of the car you probably want to look the best. But you got something in the car, Glenn, eh? You wanna show off?
I got the greatest of all time in the car. I think you're gonna need it for the next wee while.
What do you got in there?
Secret weapon. You probably needed this for the roof.
That's the way. Yeah, we did. Actually, we stood on the Yeti bucket, so
You stood on the Yeti bucket.
they worked alright.
Alright, Chris. This,
What
my
have you got
friend,
for me?
is the greatest of all time.
Oh, right, of course.
What
That
do you
makes
reckon?
sense.
I
I mean,
want your honest opinion on this bad boy.
this is looking pretty attractive, this wooden crate.
Well, that wooden crate would have come in very handy for the roof, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We subbed in the Yeti bucket.
Yeah.
So have a sit on there. I'll just get you a little cup holder for a beer later.
Oh, wow, Oh, it's a bit low for me. Where's the adjustment?
So you got to spin it. You got to hop off the chair and like spin it.
Oh, it's gonna take some points off.
Yeah.
It might be low, but it won't be low when you go up to your side panels.
Right.
You got to unclip the thing.
Oh, yeah.
What do you reckon?
Good wheels.
So for those of you who don't know, this is a Viper chair
Yeah.
with a backrest, with a side kick, with a tool tray, with a custom logo.
Jeez.
Compared to
The old reliable
Pro Lift.
Lift Pro, yeah.
Yeah.
or the old beer crate.
So we've got a specific video putting us together with some impressions on there, but first time seeing it in the flesh, Chris. What's
Yeah, it's well built, that's for sure. It's
Yeah.
a sturdy bit of kit, yeah. Oh, very nice.
So it's got like a little clip on the bottom. You got to unclip and then you can spin it and it'll spin up
Oh,
and
yes,
down.
I see, yeah.
They do come with like this new lift thing, so you can use it like a like an office
Your
chair where you
standard
lift
office,
it.
yeah, pneumatic,
I really
yeah.
need to get one because the spinny motion of this is
Yeah, if you want to change heights on,
Yeah.
on a more frequent basis, it could be a bit of a pain, yeah. All in all, though,
well, no, you like it?
solid, yeah, solid to get.
Yeah, solid.
backrest is key on this.
Yeah,
Backrest
true.
is like, I didn't think that the backrest was necessary, but after you sit on that for a while and you're using the backrest, it's luxury.
I guess it's also,
Yeah.
it helps you kind of reset your mind to remember to sit back, because there's actually something to lean against, so you're not
Yeah.
touching forward the whole time.
This is actually the first time we will have used this chair second time polishing.
Second time to detail, but this is the first time I've had everything on it.
Yes.
The first time I took the side kick off and I took I just took the side kick off to see if I was actually going to use it, because this is quite bulky and quite
Yeah,
wide.
yeah.
So when you're in like a tight area like this, it can be a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But since I've put it back on, and do you know what? I think I like the side kick. Have all my bits and pieces
Yeah,
there.
that's right,
And,
you're not looking for things.
and when I'm in the garage, like if I'm doing bead making in the garage after a wash, I just have my towels on here and I just use this like a rolly cart.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I found frustrating, and I think you probably agree, Chris, is it's been a pain having to go, where's the polish, where's the claw
Yeah,
tool,
yeah, that's
where's my
right.
towel, where's with this here, you can have your bottle of polish sitting in there, you can probably have your light in there as well, you can have your towel hanging on that side, and you're not fishing around the garage
That's
for
right.
it.
Yeah.
The garage is a mess here at the moment because it's a bit of a storage apartment at the moment, so we can't easily get around.
Probably overkill for in here, and it does get a bit annoying because of just the sheer size. But if you were in a shop and this was specifically for you every day,
Yeah.
can't go wrong.
Right, so you're working on the 3-inch at the moment,
Yep.
and how are you finding that machine as opposed to the 5-inch? What are your thoughts?
Just a lot easier to control. As you were saying before, it's easier to track where the pad's going up to.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah,
bit more
I just-
forgiving as well. That torque is a
Yeah.
bit more forgiving. So when you come into an edge or something and you've got that pad still, it will help you out a little bit.
Yeah, you can still kind of work through it.
So would you feel comfortable then? Let's say you had the money to buy one of these machines. You're going to go one
Oh,
Rupes
100%.
machine. You go there and you do the whole car with that.
Whole car with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would take longer, but I'd feel more comfortable.
See, I have the same thoughts. I think that you could do the whole car with a 3-inch. You couldn't do the whole car with a 5-inch.
No, definitely not.
To make that the perfect machine, the button at the back, the
Oh,
trigger,
move it up here
needs
like
to
that
be
one.
moved up there, and there needs to be a lockout button. Is there a lockout? I can't remember.
Yeah, it locks on.
It just clicks
It's got a
on.
trigger
Oh,
lock.
that's right. It clicks on.
Trigger
yeah.
lock on the top.
So that speed dial needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
frustrating for spreading product
And
out.
it's underneath the power. Even if it was above the power cord, it would be okay. But
Yeah.
because it's below,
haven't
you've already
used-
started and you're like, that sounds a bit too quick.
Yeah.
Have a look, and you've messed your pad up on the
Yeah.
paint.
So what are you working on? You're doing pillars.
Yep, just going to finish this pillar here. Just got a few bits on the end there to finish, and then a one spot down there that I had you check over. And then, I don't know.
Glenn steps in on the other side. He reckons 100% down
Nah,
down
there's
here.
one scratch.
One scratch?
We
Yeah.
did 98. We
It's
decided.
about that long, and it curves, and it's quite deep, and it's the only one I can see. So those middle doors, looking good.
Looking
That
pretty good.
mark there wasn't me. We've already talked about
Yeah,
that.
we covered that.
and yeah.
So we're actually making
Swear
some
through here.
pretty good progress. What we have found though is 3 people detailing. It's you know, I'm sitting here at the moment playing on the iPad and drinking a Red Bull.
Ooh,
Because with only 2 machines, there's not an awful lot you can do. I mean, coating, you'd be able to pick up another applicator and probably work with that. If you're car washing, someone could be doing wheels, but when you're detailing, you're limited to the amount of machines that you've got, really.
And so we're looking at getting another 3-inch and a nano, just so that we have the ability to take our correction to another step up, and so that we don't have this redundancy with people.
Now, we were just having that debate as well, because these cords are an absolute pain, but they're we're pretty in the Rupes ecosystem, right? We not ecosystem as far as batteries go or anything, but we want to stay true to.
Well, you start to learn your skill on a particular machine. You know how to behave. You get a feel for it. To then go and buy something else, yeah, sure, another session will be up to speed. But I like these machines. These are trustworthy. We've done a lot of cars on these. These get the job done really well and real reliable. So I think we'll stay with these. But I would love a battery powered machine.
Battery power would be so nice, but I think Nano's battery powered, so easy. We'll pick up that, and then I think it's just a case of, just like any tech or any tools, you can upgrade once we latest and greatest comes out. Rupes haven't actually announced anything yet. We're just acting on hearsay here, and we've been hopeful, right?
Hopeful. I think it has to come.
It's got to happen.
I mean, there's a Rupes, the Flex tool is battery powered. Milwaukee have brought one out. Ryobi have a tool that are all battery powered. So I think
it's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time, mate. And you agree? You realise that the cords are annoying?
Yeah. Especially even over your shoulder, and while you're halfway through, it drops off, and you're worried about it hitting on the paint and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just one less thing to worry about, I think.
All right, so we're just about to call it a night. So we've got Chris on the pad wash over here. This is a part that we've probably never shown before, to be honest, but he's
quite therapeutic, actually. I think you're fine.
Scrubbing away with the APC, getting those all clean. Got the polisher set up down here, so we're spinning them out outside.
We really need to get a proper pad washer, though.
Yeah, we do. We need to get the detail guards. Detail guards?
Yeah, there's a few on the market. I think Optimum make... no. Lake Country, I think, make one as well.
Pad washers, yeah.
I think it will help with longevity of pads. I think when you wash them by hand, I think you tend to pull the foam cells apart a little bit, and like you can get nicks and stuff. And definitely the microfiber pads, they start to delaminate.
They do, and I think when you're using a brush on them as well, if you're not having to do that step with the pad washer, I think that's going to help that longevity as well. So we've got a couple of pads to clean up. We've made pretty good progress around this car, so really what we've got left is we've got the that whole panel there, so the rear of the car. We've got a little bit of finish polishing to be done just around here, and then we've left the front bumper, one of the worst bits of a paint correction.
Front bumper and those bottom rockers are the worst, because we don't have a lift here. It would be nice if we could lift it up and bring it up to our height. Instead we're clawing around on the floor underneath there, and it's awkward, it's messy, and also it's also the most dangerous part of the car, especially on this, because there's lots of it's not flat panels, there's a lot of curves and things like that, so we do have to be a bit careful there. So we'll do it when we're fresh tomorrow.
Alright, day number 2 in the garage. So Chris has been up bright and earlier than me this morning, and he's just been working on the back of the car here, so making really good progress. Still got a bit more to do, those side skirts, the front bumper. And I think an area that you were quite concerned about back here, probably one of the worst areas on the car, right, was this strip here, just outside of the boot. So we've probably hit that. How many sets of passes do you reckon we've done on that?
I'd say we're up around 12 passes.
Yeah,
on that,
so
maybe more. So I've kind of just accepted that it is what it is. It's probably, I'm probably happy with it now, and it's not an area that you really see directly, I guess, that often. As the owner, as the driver of the car, you're not really around the back, but
you say you don't put groceries in the boot here very often either, so nothing.
Car,
so you're not going to see it.
I'm not going to see it.
And I think the challenge here is you've got, if we open this up, so basically this area here, almost where that shadow is, the boot is actually covering that when it's closed. But I guess what we've found is that the 3-inch pad is only getting up to about that area, right? So once it's operational, you're not quite hitting that corner. You need a rotary to get nice and tight in there, which we don't have, but it is hidden. We go and close this boot, and as you can see, we kind of hide that line up there. So a few little scratches still left in there, but miles better than when we started. So you're just tidying up a little whoopsie?
Yeah, so just this line here, you can see I've run across with the polisher because I've taken the tape off already. the hindsight quick extra polish, you know, it's paid dearly for it. So I'm just going to use this heavy duty vinyl cleaner.
M39, so this is fantastic. So if you're a bit lazy with your taping, or you do get some polish on trim, this stuff is great. You've got to use it with a brush of some sort, because essentially you've got to get it out of that porous surface. And this stuff's fantastic. I haven't found a surface yet that it hasn't pulled polish out of. But it's a lot easier to take than go around and do this on all of your trim.
Afterwards. That's right. That'll wipe off.
It'll just dry flat again.
Perfect.
Easy. Alright, final part of the process.